So, good morning. Thank you guys for being with me for this Monday morning or whenever you guys are watching it recorded. Today, we're going to talk about how to build a thriving real estate business. So, you might be new in real estate, or you might just be kind of circling back to this to take on some new ideas or some things that maybe you hadn't thought of before. One of the things that I really like about this class is you don't have to be brand new for these principles to be able to be taken into action. So some of the things we're going to talk about seem a little bit fundamental, and if you're fairly new, then these are things that I would encourage you to go ahead and start right from the beginning. But even if you've been in real estate for a little while, there's some things that we're going to touch on here that you may go, you know what, I never thought of that before. So even if you're not brand new, I would still encourage you to kind of come away with this with one or two things that you could implement in your business that would help take you to the next level. So the question is, how do you build a thriving real estate business? Because let's be real, that's what we're all here for. That's what we want to do. Most of us don't want to be a part-time agent. We don't want to be that agent that sells one or two houses a year. Now, there's a place for that. There are agents out there that do it, they do it successfully, and they are fine with it. But that's not really what we set you guys up to do. We give you the tools and skills and the knowledge that you need to be full-time agents who make a really good living. And ultimately, that's what I want to have you guys take away from this is, what are some things that you could be doing to be able to take your business to that next level? So there's three primary objectives that we're going to talk about today. We're going to review the 7 methods for generating customers who require the services that you provide and who understand through analyzing the values of each method and derive their potential impact on your overall business. We're going to talk about how to create your real estate business working structure, and then how to implement those 5 entrepreneurial fundamentals that are used by successful agents. And then the third one is the techniques to overcome those obstacles that commonly get in the way of achieving the level of success that we desire for ourselves. So ultimately, I'm going to show you guys how to get out of your own way, because that's the one part of this that always gets to be the most challenging. The biggest obstacle that I have faced in any position I've ever had is right here between my ears. It's me. It's always been me. So what I'm going to show you guys is how to take those fundamentals and then be able to execute them at a very high level. Now, how do you build a thriving real estate business? How do you, or do you know how to start a business and make it successful? So here's the really interesting thing with real estate. For the lion's share of the agents in real estate, they started somewhere else. You know, very few people turn 18 years old and go, you know what, I really want to be a real estate agent. It's just not one of those things that most people start with. So for the majority of the agents in this business, they started somewhere else. They started in corporate America, they started in healthcare, they started somewhere. And then they kind of find their way into real estate. Because let's be real, you are a business owner. When you are working as a real estate agent, you are in business for yourself. You don't have a boss, even though you have brokers. I'm not going to call you at 9:01 and go, hey, you didn't punch in this morning. What are you doing? You guys run your own businesses. You're independent contractors, and you have the power to succeed or fail based 100% on your own merits. And that's a pretty scary thing to realize, that your success lies 100% on your shoulders. Now, obviously, you have brokers and things like that that are here to support you and here to kind of get you guys successful. But ultimately, you don't want to roll out of bed till 10 o'clock in the morning. You don't want to, you know, work on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, or Sunday. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. But what it takes to really be successful wasn't taught to you in your real estate school. For the majority of you, you don't have degrees in marketing or management or business or something like that. And maybe you were taught how to run a business in your previous job, but maybe you weren't. So what we have is an industry here where people become entrepreneurs, whether they realize it or not, and they have the responsibility of running a business that gets dropped squarely on their shoulder with absolutely no training on how to do it. So how do you accomplish it? How do you overcome those obstacles? Well, are you equipped with the knowledge and the understanding to be a successful business person and a successful real estate agent? Because let's be real, the things that we learned in real estate school, in our pre-licensing course, don't set us up for success. In the 8 years I've had my real estate license, you know how many times I've had to figure out how many square feet were in an acre? 0, none, never. It was on my real estate test. I had to memorize the 43,100 and whatever it is square feet in an acre. Never used it. So we're filled with all this knowledge for stuff that we think, okay, cool. I passed my real estate license exam. I'm a licensed realtor in the state of Florida. Now what? Nothing teaches you how to get out there and be a real estate professional. Now, I've met people and talked to people that were getting into real estate, and they're like, okay, cool. I get my license, I go to work for the broker, and then the broker just gives me all my leads, right? No, that's not how it works. Because the days of people showing up and having listings plastered across your window of the real estate brokerage so people could look at it, those days are gone. People don't typically call into a real estate office and go, hey, I'm thinking about listing my house. Can you send an agent over? It doesn't work that way. They're finding agents through social media, through Zillow, through Realtor.com, through all these other sources. So real estate as a whole has completely changed in the last 10, 20, 30 years. Everything is different, and yet we all have the same license, and nobody knows how to run their own business. I shouldn't say nobody. There are those who do. But for the most part, most people don't know how to run a business. So success as a real estate agent requires a devotion to actions that are going to result in successful closed transactions. So what does that mean? A devotion to actions that result in successful closed transactions. What it means is there are things that you have to do every single day. Now, did I say there are things you should do? Did I say there are things that you could do? No. There are things that you must do in order to be successful. Now, I will always say that there are two things that will spur action: motivation and desperation. And both of them can be equally motivating. Whether you can force yourself to get out of bed and do what you need to do, or you get to the point that you become so desperate that you don't have another opportunity. Those are the two things that are going to push you into action. And I'll tell you, some of the things that I'm going to encourage you guys to do today are not going to be comfortable. There are things that you're going to look at your screen and go, sorry, Greg, I can't do that. But I'm telling you, if you want to find success in this industry, these are things that you have to do. They're non-negotiables. So like a professional athlete, you need to practice your skills. Here's the thing that killed me, okay? Michael Jordan, arguably one of the best basketball players of his time and maybe of all time. The man had a shooting coach. Who in the world is Michael Jordan's shooting coach? He's the most successful basketball player of his time, and yet he had a coach. A coach who was arguably nowhere near as successful as the man he was coaching. But you know what? That real estate coach, or that basketball coach, that shooting coach, was exponentially better at one thing: working the mechanics. Doing that one thing exceptionally well. When you shoot a basketball, you shoot it the exact same way every single time. You develop that muscle memory so that when your adrenaline is pumping, your heart is racing, you stand at that line, your muscle memory is going to tell you how to do it the same way every time. And it's the same thing in real estate. We need to develop that muscle memory that's going to allow us, when we are nervous, when we are standing in front of that $1 million listing, we are going to know exactly the words that need to come out of our mouth before we even think about it. Okay? So let's talk about it. How do we find and connect with people that need our real estate services? So if you guys have ever attended any of my classes, you know that I harp on 3 things. There are 3 things that a person has to have to want to work with you. They have to know you, they have to like you, and they have to trust you. So they have to know you. They have to know you exist. They have to know you have a real estate license. But then they have to like you, because let's be real. In Florida, we have the highest incidence of real estate licensees per capita of any state in the country. So 1 out of every 107 adults in the state of Florida have a real estate license. That means statistically, every person you know knows at least 5 or 6 real estate agents. So how do you win? They have to know you, they have to like you, but probably more importantly, they have to trust you. They have to know that you are going to protect them, because buying or selling real estate is one of the largest transactions that a person will ever make in their lifetime. Whether it's a manufactured home, a condo, a single family home, an apartment complex, whatever it is, whatever this person is buying or selling, it will almost always be the largest transaction that they do in their life. So that's a huge burden of trust to put into somebody. So do I want to hire a real estate agent that doesn't know what they're doing to help me with the largest transaction I'm ever going to make in my lifetime? I wouldn't. So what does that mean? How do we connect with those people that need our real estate services? Well, there are some very simple methods that we use that are going to generate customers for the services that we provide. And then we're going to analyze some of the pros and cons, meaning the values to our business of each of those. So let's jump right in. The first one is to purchase real estate leads. Okay, so we can go out there, we can spend some money, and we can buy real estate leads. Now, each of these sources have different costs, different pros and cons, different values, and I have a completely separate class on working internet leads. And we really dig into this in a much deeper level. So if you guys haven't watched that and you're really thinking about working internet leads, I would encourage you, when this is over, to jump over and watch that video. But purchasing real estate leads is one way of generating business. Now, you could go in there, and I'll tell you, for the first few years of my business, I was spending between $500 and $1,000 a month buying real estate leads from various sources with mixed results. It's a difficult thing to do, but if you are new to the area, you don't know anybody, you know, whatever that is, you have no sphere of influence to start from, then purchasing real estate leads might be a good option for you. So that's one. Some of the pros: you receive inquiries for real estate. You have people that are interested in buying or selling real estate. The leads tend to be warm because obviously they're reaching out asking for help. So they have indicated some margin of level of interest. You know, some of them might be, oh, I want to buy a year from now, but it's a lead. And it will result in an increase in your business. So those are the pros. Some of the cons: the leads aren't pre-screened. So like I said, they might be somebody who's kind of looking at property now, but really isn't in a situation to buy for a year or 2 years, or sometimes even more than that. They demand your instant attention. So when a real estate lead comes in, if you don't respond to them within 2 to 3 minutes, they've already called the next one. So it is you've got to be right on top of this all the time. They demand aggressive communication. You've got to follow up with them. Statistically, it takes 7 to 11 times of reaching out to this person before they're going to respond to you. So you're going to invest a lot of time into somebody that's not pre-screened, that's going to be very demanding of your attention, that may or may not turn into a real estate transaction. It requires a financial investment. Like I said, I was spending $1,000 a month. You can do some of them for 200 or 300 and get some leads, but it's an investment. It's something that you are committing to for 6 to 12 months. So it is a pretty significant financial investment, and there's an undetermined return on investment. Now, we know that statistically, Zillow leads return about a 5%. So for every 20 people that you reach out to, one of them might turn into a transaction. That's a lot of work for 1 out of 20, but it's a way to generate leads. So what if you decide to go this way? What do you need to know? Well, first, you know that you have to address their requests or reason for contacting you immediately. We live in this instant gratification society where people want to know exactly what it is and they want an answer right this second. Number 2, you sell them on the information that they can't get for themselves. And I cover this in a lot more detail in that class. Number 3, you call, text, or email over and over and over and over to command a response. And then the 4th one is you need to use a CRM and create a personal follow-up system. So there are some things that you have to do if this is a way that you want to generate business in order to be successful. Now, the second one is networking and volunteering. And this is one that I'm a huge advocate for. Whether it's Habitat for Humanity or BNI or the Chamber, or the Rotary, the West Pasco Business Association, or, any of the 50,000 other ways that you could get out there and network or volunteer. Now, I'll give you a little caveat. This was a lot easier to do pre-COVID. Networking groups and all that. Obviously, like this bottom left picture, this is not something we're going to be doing right about now. So we have to get creative in how we do our networking and volunteering, but there are still opportunities to do that. So pros and cons. They become your sphere of influence. These are other professionals, other business leaders, other community people. They get to know you like you, trust you. They become your sphere of influence. They become people who would refer you business. And it also helps a cause or gives you an opportunity to give back. Now, again, if you guys have been through my classes, you know that when I was selling real estate, we always donated 10% of our commission. And I say it was my wife and I. We donated 10% of our commission to a nature-related charity in the state of Florida of the customer's choosing. So whether they were passionate about sea turtles or dolphins or, whatever it was, we had partner organizations that we would donate to that we would basically make a donation on their behalf. So I am a huge advocate for giving back. And one of the things that we always put in our marketing was doing well to do good. And it was a catchphrase that we really liked, but we realized that it went right over most people's heads. And what it meant was we do well, meaning that we earn good income by doing good, by providing services that are going to help our community as a whole. We have a couple of agents in the company that are teachers. And so they donate to local PTAs or to classrooms or to teachers' organizations as a way to be able to kind of give back. So find something that you're passionate about. Habitat for Humanity, building homes for the needy, soup kitchens, food pantries, battered women's shelters, whatever it is. There are so many things out there that you could use your real estate platform as a way to give back and do well. And I will tell you guys that aside from the feeling that it gives you when you're giving back to these charities, it has opened a lot of doors for people who are like, well, why should I choose you? And one of the reasons I always gave them was because we donated 10% of the income that we earn back into nature-related charities. We give back. So I always said that I'm not the agent that wants to go out there to buy a new Bentley. That's not what I'm about. I drive a Nissan Altima. It's just the choice that I made. Now, is there anything wrong with driving a Bentley? Of course not. And I don't mean to imply that there is. But for me, that was never what I cared about. I always cared about making enough money to provide for my family and to be able to give back in a way that makes me feel good. That's it. That's all I cared about. I've made really good income doing exactly what I'm telling you guys to do right now. But at the end of the day, the most success that I had came through finding outlets to be able to give back into the community. And in turn, that resulted in more business, which resulted in me being able to do more, which resulted in more business. So it's kind of this circle of give to get. And I don't mean to say that you should only give with the intention of what you get back, but as a secondary effect, it happens. And it happens quite a lot, actually. Now, some of the cons, occasionally there's a cost to join some of these networking groups. It's an investment of your time. So you need to understand that you're going to make an investment. Whether you're buying leads, whether you're networking, you're making an investment into your business. And we've all heard the adage, it takes money to make money. And that's not necessarily true. There are ways that you could build your business without spending money. But understand that time is currency. So whether you're putting in sweat equity or financial equity, you're going to build equity in your business. There's no shortcut to it. So what do you need to know? One, you've got to determine your opportunity as a real estate agent. So things like the Chamber of Commerce might have 25 real estate agents in their group. So you're now one of 25. You have to compete. You have to stand out. Two, you need to choose a networking group or a networking organization that aligns with opportunity to reach targets. You know, some of these are more like social gatherings and they don't really focus as much on giving referrals or receiving referrals. Whereas BNI, part of your organization, part of your group, stipulates that you have to give referrals to somebody every single week. So understand that there's a different level of involvement with each of these. It may require you to take a leadership position, to become involved in these organizations, to really be able to stand out. And number four, you've got to touch on your real estate services and business at the right moment. So we don't want to sound like our friend who just joined a multi-level marketing organization, right? Because we all have these people that approach us and go, hey, Greg, how are you? I haven't talked to you in 10 years. I'm wild. How are you? Oh, I'm great. I just started. Oh, crap. Here it comes, right? We've all had that experience. You know exactly what I'm talking about. We don't want to be that person in our real estate career. Because at the end of the day, and now there are those who advocate for door knocking and things like that. And I'm not trying to discourage it, but let me give you an example. The businesses that are successful, do they come knock on your door? No. The lawyers, the doctors, the dentists, the people, the lawn crews that are out there with more business than they can handle, do they feel compelled to go door to door to knock and ask for business? No. The people that are coming to my door are the ones who don't have enough business. Okay, it's not to say that they're not good, but I want to work with successful people. I want to work with a real estate agent who can show me the value of what they do. Now, as a result, I have always positioned myself as the expert. Even when I was new in the business, I was the expert. Well, Greg, how can you say that you're an expert if you're brand new in the business? I surrounded myself with professionals, brokers, insurance people, inspectors, electricians, plumbers, whatever. I surrounded myself with experts so that when anybody came to me and said, hey, I've got this issue, I need an electrician, who do I call? Here, let me send you the number. I knew what it took to be successful. You have to get out of your head, because success comes from surrounding yourself with people who know. The third strategy is to assist another real estate professional. whether you're working as a buyer's agent on a team, whether you're hosting open houses, again, this is something that I highly encourage you guys to do. Some of the pros, it helps you learn the business. They're going to provide you leads. You're going to earn income sooner. You're going to add additional income. The con is you're going to pay for that. You're going to give the team a split. You're going to pay your mentor a piece of your first few deals. Maybe it's worth it for you. Maybe it's not. That's ultimately for you to decide. But at the end of the day, you have to evaluate what it takes for you to be successful, what it takes for you to meet the goals that you've set for yourself. Looks different for everybody. I sit down and talk to a lot of agents every single day, and we talk about what does it take to be successful in real estate? Well, I could talk to 5 people today, and I would give each of them a very different answer. Because the way that I would do business versus the way that person A, person B, person C, whatever that is, there's 50,000 different ways to find success in real estate. And what works for me may not work for you. But let's talk through what your goals are. Let's talk about what it is that you want to get out of real estate. Because we're going to go through half a dozen strategies here, and all of them could be successful if implemented properly. The fourth one is advertising campaigns, mailing, print ads, social media marketing, whatever that is. In this case, it's a postcard. You thinking of selling your home? Navigate the real estate market with a global expert. I'll send you a free comparative market analysis and a home evaluation. Give me a call. What I'll tell you is print ads and mailing work if they are a piece of a marketing strategy. If it is the only thing you're looking to do, don't waste your time or money. Now, they are effective. They generate warm leads. They capture the desired customer. But there's some financial investment. You're going to have to pay for the marketing, pay for the mailing, and there's risk. It's hard to know whether or not these leads are coming from that mailing campaign. How often do you guys get something in the mail that's an advertisement for a business or a real estate agent, and it's like right in the garbage can? Happens a lot. But when it's part of a shared marketing strategy, it can be successful. Oh, that's Greg. I saw him on the park bench. I saw him on the billboard. He popped up on my social media. That's the guy. Okay, cool. It's shared recognition. There's value in that. Number 5 is for sale by owners or expired listing prospecting. This is low-hanging fruit because these are people who have already expressed an interest in selling their home. A for sale by owner, they want to sell their home. They actively have their home on the market. Now, for sale by owners, statistically, 86% of them turn into listings because you don't know what you don't know. Now, real estate agents as a whole don't have the greatest reputation. Sucks. I wish it weren't true, but it is. So a lot of people think, oh, there's a ton of buyers out there right now. I can just stick a sign in the yard and my phone's going to ring off the hook, because that's all real estate agents do, right? They just throw a sign in the yard and wait for their phone to ring. Guys, that's not how it works. In today's industry, that's not how it works. Expired listings, same thing. This is somebody who's already agreed to work with a real estate agent, and for whatever reason, their home didn't sell. So you get an opportunity to reach out to these expired listings and go, hey, I know how to sell your house. Maybe it's a pricing issue. Maybe it's a marketing issue. Maybe it's any number of things that cause a home to sell, or cause a home not to sell, rather. I will tell you guys that by and large, homes will sell as long as they are priced correctly and marketed aggressively. You do those two things, you should be able to sell your home, or sell your listings, rather. Now, my kind of claim to fame when I was selling real estate was that I got almost all of my listings, well over 95% of my listings, under contract in 30 days or less. Now, there were 3 exceptions that I can think of offhand. 2 of them, I told them right up front that because of the price point, they were houses over $500,000, and in the neighborhood, they took between 70 and 90 days to get under contract. So I told them right up front, my claim to fame is I get homes under contract in 30 days or less. Your neighborhood at market value will take about 60 days. And I put it under in 63, I think. That was just the nature of the neighborhood. So I warned them right up front. The third one, I still to this day don't know how I missed it. We priced it right, whatever. It took like 74 days to get under contract. I still don't know why. It just did. So I've only ever really missed it once. You price it right, you market it aggressively, you will get a home under contract. It's just that simple. And really, you can get it under contract in 30 days or less. If it doesn't, so if this listing expires, it's because one of those 2 things didn't happen. Either the house wasn't priced right or it wasn't marketed correctly. So those are easy. Go get them. We give you all the tools and skills and knowledge that you need to land those for sale by owners and those expired listings. You just have to know how to go get them. So some of the pros, these leads are free. Totally free. You don't pay for them. They're now leads. These are people that want to sell their home today. And you get to choose your business. Just because a property is sold for sale by owner, does that mean you have to go take it? If it's a $42,000 house that's basically a tear down, do you have to go take that listing? Of course not. You get to choose what area you want to work, what price point you want to work. Just because there are 10,000 for sale by owners in the Tampa Bay area doesn't mean you have to go get all of them. Work your area. Be the expert in the area that you want to work, whether that's a city or a zip code or a county or a neighborhood or whatever. Choose the business you want to work. Now, some of the cons, there is some agent competition. There are agents out there that are also competing for the for sale by owners and the expireds. Statistically, they're considerably less than the whole generation or the whole population as a whole. That was redundant, sorry. There are less agents working for sale by owners and expireds than are trying to work all of real estate. That's what I'm trying to say. And it requires lead conversion skills. You need to practice your scripts. You need to learn what to say because you need to have that muscle memory that when an objection comes up, you know how to overcome it. When you sit down for that listing appointment, you know exactly what's on the next page of that listing presentation. It takes practice. It takes the Michael Jordan shooting coach. Are you willing to invest the time and energy it takes to be successful? Maybe you are, maybe you're not. The next one is to talk to people. Share real estate services in a gas station, in waiting in line at the grocery store. Wear your name tag. Let people know that you are in real estate. Charisse always said, don't be a secret agent. People don't know you. Remember, know you like you, trust you. They don't know you. They're not going to work with you. Wear a name tag. Talk to people. Some of the pros, it generates unexpected opportunities. When you're talking to people, these are not leads that you could ever count on. It builds your business brand because even if they're not looking to buy or sell real estate today, they are becoming knowledgeable of you as an agent. There's value in that. They're easy to influence. You're standing there talking to them, just having a conversation. It's pretty easy. The last one is that adds additional income. Every transaction that you close is additional income. Now, what are the cons? They might be a psycho killer or a stalker. Now, I'm kidding, of course, but that's the only real con. Maybe this person standing behind me is a serial killer. But you know what? Realistically, they're not. They're just another person standing in line, pumping gas, or waiting to pay for their groceries. There's no cons here, guys. Talk to people. Now, you may say, you know what, I'm an introvert. I don't, just the thought of talking to a stranger gives me anxiety. Okay, maybe this doesn't work for you. But I'll tell you guys, I've picked up listings because I was checking out at Publix and I forgot I had my name tag on. And the cashier goes, oh, you're in real estate? I am actually. Oh, my husband and I were just talking about selling our house. Really? What a good day to buy a gallon of milk. Because it resulted in a $9,000 commission. Best gallon of milk I ever bought. $9,000 commission because the checkout girl was looking to sell her $300,000 house. It's as easy as that. Just having conversations with people. Now, maybe it's not something you're comfortable with. Maybe it's not something that'll work for you. But I'd be willing to bet that the first time you get that commission check from that conversation, you're going to start talking to people. It's just how it works. Number 7, and this is something that we should all be doing every day, is contact your sphere of influence and ask for referrals. Now, this is something I've harped on too, and if I say this again, I would apologize, but I don't really apologize for it. Ask for referrals right from the beginning. In real estate, we've been doing this wrong forever. So we get our customer, they go through, they buy their home, and then at closing, what do? We ask for a referral. Okay, cool. But let's say, for example, that you are in the market for a new Tesla. What does your brain see everywhere? New Teslas. Maybe you just found out you're pregnant. What do you see? Pregnant women everywhere. It's this part of our brain that when we are focused on something, we actually notice it everywhere. So, okay, cool. We have a buyer. We've worked them through the process. We get them to closing. What are they no longer thinking about anymore? Buying or selling a home. So that whole window of opportunity where they're going to see or hear real estate everywhere, we never asked for the referrals. So I did it differently. I told my customers when I worked with them, I work by referral. This is my primary source of business. So what I'm going to ask is, by the time we are done with this transaction, I'm going to ask for 2 referrals. I'm going to ask you to send me 2 people who want to buy or sell their home before we're done. And you know what? More often than not, I got at least 1, because they hear the word real estate everywhere. All of a sudden now somebody at work goes, says the word house, their ears perk up. And they're like, wait, what? You want to sell a house? I know exactly who you should call. I could easily attribute 1 to 2 deals additional for every single transaction that I did. That's exponential. That's exponential. That is easy money. So you've got to ask for it. If you don't ask for those referrals, you won't get them. And sorry, my Google Voice I forgot to close my email, so it's ringing in the background. I don't know if you guys can hear it. So when you're working with your sphere of influence, ask for those referrals. Pros, they already know, like, and trust you. They're easy to close. They build business quickly, and it adds additional income. Guys, there's no con. They're people that already know you, like you, trust you. They want to work with you. But you don't ever ask. This is money that you are literally leaving on the table because you are too afraid to have a conversation. That's it. That's all it is. So, what is the business term that's used for measuring or analyzing profitability from an investment? Now, normally I do this class live, so I kind of have a little bit more, return, but it's ROI, return on investment. So the business term is measuring or analyzing profitability from an investment is your ROI. This is the most important thing that you can track in your business. What is your ROI? For every dollar I spend, I want to know what my return on that money is. If I'm buying internet leads, how many customers can I directly attribute to that? If I'm sending out mailers, how many people specifically responded to that mailer? All of these things are factors that you need to be able to track in your business. If you are going to spend $1, if you are going to spend an hour, you need to track your return on investment on that time. So what we give is our investment, be it finances, be it time, be it energy, be it whatever. And our ROI is the return, what we get for what we spent. Now, I talk in another class about the difference between value and cost, and all of that gets factored into your ROI. So what result do we need from our return on investment? Our return is larger than our investment. If I'm spending $1,000 a month and I'm getting one $100,000 commission every 3 months, let's just say 3%. So I'm making $3,000 from spending $3,000. Am I going to keep doing that? No, because at the end of the day, I'm just breaking even. I'm not in business to break even. I need to get a return that is larger than my investment. What ROI do you need? Is it a 300% ROI, a 500% ROI, 1,000% ROI? That's for you to decide. If I'm going to spend $1,000 a month, what do I need to get back out of that? For me, I wanted a 5 to 1. So if I'm spending $1,000, I want to be able to make $5,000 a month off of it. That was my baseline. If I could not attribute a $5,000 return for $1,000 that I spent, I didn't keep doing it. Now, bear in mind, this is ROI over time. So you can't just do something for 1 month and then go, oh, I didn't make $5,000 this month. I'm not going to keep doing that, because some of them take time to get going. But I want to track my ROI over time. When I look at something over a 3-month or a 6-month or a 12-month period, can I attribute a return on investment that is equal to my baseline? These are things you need to be able to track in your business. Can ROI be different for each agent? Absolutely. For me, I wanted a 5-fold return on my money. I know other agents that have a 10-fold return on their money as a baseline. Some of them are fine with a 2-time return. I spend $1,000, I make $2,000. I've doubled my money. I'm okay with that. So you need to figure out what that looks like for you and set that as your baseline. Because guys, if you're not tracking what you're getting back, you're missing the boat completely. Because if I can't track where my money is going and how much of a return I'm getting from it, how do I know if I'm making smart investments? Short answer is you don't. You don't know if you're getting a good return on that investment or not. But that's different for everybody. Now, why can ROI be different? Well, maybe you have a different amount of available finances. You most definitely are going to have a different determination to work it, either better or worse, but I've never met any 2 people who have the exact same level of determination. And the third one is your commitment to perfecting it. How committed are you to doing it right and getting it done? This is going to determine your ROI. When I was selling real estate, I had a set amount of money that I was used to making, that my family was dependent on. Making less than that wasn't an option. So I had to come into this and go, okay, I've got to make $75,000 this year, my first year in real estate. This is my expectation. How do I go do it? Failure wasn't an option. I walked away from a job making really good money to come into real estate. Now, I had circumstances that mandated that I needed to do that, but I didn't have an option. So my commitment and my determination came 100% from desperation. I walked away from a really good paycheck every 2 weeks to a job where I only get paid when a deal closes. I don't have a paycheck anymore. I've got a finite amount of money in my savings account to help get me through. And when that money is gone, I am in some deep doo-doo. I was desperate. So I got really good at working my sphere of influence, at working the leads that I had, at networking, at talking to people, at doing what I needed to do to close real estate. Motivation or desperation? Which one is it for you? Now, with available finances, you have less control over that. You can't control how much money you have, short of like, you know, a rich relative leaving you a great inheritance or something, but how do you count on that? You can't. So you have a lot less control over your available finances. What you can control is your level of determination and your commitment to perfecting those skills. That's what you can control. Now, guys, I will tell you, I was successful doing exactly what I'm teaching you guys to do. This is not some pie in the sky concept of, you know, if you do this, maybe you'll be successful, maybe you won't. Because I'm telling you, if you do what I'm teaching you, you will be successful. So before we move on to the next section, does anybody have any questions? And you can pop it into chat or you can turn your microphone on and all right, we'll go ahead and move on. So if we want a successful business for ourselves, we must create a plan and act on it. Now, I have a marketing and management degree. I studied business. I love business. And that's why I love helping you guys build businesses. But the first thing that I ask is, do you have a written business plan for your real estate business? And overwhelmingly, the response is the same. No, I don't have a business plan. Or I have a plan, but it's all up here. It's not going to cut it. You need to have a written business plan that has a mission statement, a vision statement, a projection, a profit and loss analysis. You need to have a business plan just like if you were to go open some other business. Let's say you wanted to run a carpet cleaning company. You would have to go in and do an analysis that says, in the area that I want to work, in the geographic sphere that I have, how many people have carpets that need to be professionally cleaned? You need to do a market analysis. The same thing is true from real estate. You need to know, if I want to work the Spring Hill market, how many homes get sold in this zip code every calendar year? How much of a market share do I need to get in order to meet my goals? Is it 1%? Is it 5%? Is it 10%? How much of that total volume would I have to have in order to reach my financial goals? Once you know that number, you can back into how you go about doing it. But you have to know, you've got to have a business plan. So there are a lot of people that say, my goal is to make money. Okay, here's $1. You just made money. Did you reach your goal? No. Then what is your goal? Making money is fine, but have a plan for the money that you make. Do you want to take a trip? Want to take your family on vacation? Do you want to have flexibility to be able to get healthy? Do you want to get yourself out of debt? Do you want to have retirement? Do you want a new car? Do you have aging relatives that you're going to need to take care of? What will you do with the money that you earn? What's the purpose? Because if I have all the money in the world, but I have no idea what I plan to do with it, I have no motivation. You need to set finite goals that are going to help you understand what your goal is. The second one is develop and keep habits. Good habits, bad habits. We all have them. But you have to remain committed each day to those actions or methods that are going to achieve results. What good is sitting on a treadmill if you fall asleep? I can't tell you how many people have treadmills sitting in their garages that have been collecting dust for years that have never been turned on. The intention was good. I bought a treadmill because my goal was to lose weight or to get healthier or to whatever. Never plugged the darn thing in. Not a healthy habit if you don't ever do it. Start somewhere. You don't need to run a marathon on day one. Start with a half a mile. Start walking a mile. Whatever it is, start somewhere, but develop those habits. Now, there's a whole psychology to this about building up and motivation and taking on goals that are too big and burning out and all of this. And I would encourage you guys to pay attention to some of those things. But you got to start somewhere. Start your day early. Now, this one's gonna hurt. My wife, her brain doesn't function before 8 a.m. It's just who she is. So I get up at 5, 5:30, sometimes 3, 3:30, and I start my day. The house is quiet. I can schedule my text messages. I can schedule my emails. I can do all the things that I need to do while I have that quiet time and I'm fresh. I have this weird gene that I really only need 4 hours of sleep. I can thrive exceptionally well on 4 to 5 hours of sleep. So I go to bed at 10. I'm usually up by 4 or 5. Even when I wake up at 3, I wake up refreshed, ready to start my day. Now, that may not be true of everybody, but understand that there are good reasons to get up at 6 o'clock in the morning. I always joke that I get more done by lunchtime than most people accomplish in an entire day. The trade-off is by 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon, I'm fried. I don't do listing appointments in the evening because I learned that's not when I'm at my best. I just know that about myself. Now, my wife is the polar opposite. She doesn't shut her brain down until about midnight. She gets more done in the 10 to midnight than I do in the 5 to 10. Because that's when she has her momentum going. That's when her brain is running. So understand what it is about you, how you're wired. Are you the early bird or are you the night owl? You know, night owls have it a lot harder in this business because all the early birds are wearing out by the time the night owls get to work. So understand there are, and I read a book, gosh, I can't remember the name of it now, it's totally escaping me, but it was basically the fundamental habits of millionaires. And it looked at the top, I want to say it was like 50 millionaires in the United States. And they looked at what habits all of those people shared. And some of the results were pretty interesting. They typically read one nonfiction book a week across the board. Now you think these millionaires, they are busy people, but they read one nonfiction book a week. They started their days at 5 a.m. They scheduled their meetings for first thing in the morning. They found that when they were freshest, they were able to accomplish more. They also had wardrobes that they could literally grab just about any 2 articles of clothing and get out the door. And the most notable was the CEO of Apple. And he said, I always wore jeans and a long sleeve shirt. because I could grab any two out of my closet and it was one decision that my brain didn't have to make. Because over the course of the day, we get into decision fatigue. So we actually get worn out from making decisions. So if we can if we can automate decisions that are menial, it's one less decision that our brain has to make, so we can be honed in on those decisions that matter. Automate as much as you can, because you only have so many decision-making abilities in the course of a day. Don't wear out on the menial decisions. What socks should I wear? What pants should I wear? Does this shirt match these pants? Don't get bogged down with those decisions, because later you're going to be fatigued when it comes time to make a decision for your business that's going to really matter. Focus on what matters in your business. Set up a daily to-do structure. The last thing I do before I lay down at bed at night is look at what's on tomorrow's schedule. What class am I teaching? What appointments do I have? Who do I need to call? What do I need to do? Do I have any deadlines coming up? Do I have any of these things? All of this stuff is on my daily planner. So before I go to bed, I wake up with a purpose. I don't wake up like this dude on the left and go, what am I supposed to do today? I have no idea. Because what happens? You spend an hour on TikTok. You spend an hour on Facebook. You scroll Instagram. You go watching cat videos on YouTube because you have no idea what you need to do today. Have a plan. Get up with a purpose. Now, this is a little bit off topic, but I'm going to touch on it here. Start your day with something positive. I used to get up and the first thing I did was look at the news and what happened overnight. There's nothing good in the news, guys. More people died, more crime, more recession, more whatever. Don't start your day with that. Start your day with something positive, something uplifting. Maybe it's a devotional. Maybe it's a YouTube person that you follow. Start your day with 5 to 10 minutes of positive. You know, there are people out there that start with all the things that they're grateful for. You know, getting out of bed, the first thing they focus on is all the things in their life that they're grateful for. Affirmations, things like that. I always said that it was dumb until I started doing it. And when I started my day with positivity and affirmations and things that were important to me, it was amazing how my outlook changed. How quickly everything started falling into place. As opposed to starting my day, bogging myself down with that negativity and that, you know, bad news. And, you know, I checked my email and now all of a sudden a deal has gone pear-shaped overnight, or an appraisal came in low, or an inspection didn't come back great. And now all of a sudden it's 5:30 or 6 o'clock in the morning and I'm stressing about something that I can't do a darn thing about until 9 o'clock when the bank opens or the title company opens or whatever that is. There's nothing I can do about it. So why do I let myself get bogged down and stressed and overwhelmed at 5 o'clock in the morning with something that I can't do a thing about? What can I do something about? My brain. I can have a positive outlook so that when I get hit with those inevitable things that are going to come up, I don't get derailed by them because I'm in a positive outlook. I'm in a better situation to be able to focus on the things that I need to address. I have a plan. So I would encourage you guys to start that. The fundamental number 5, obtain great tools and use them. Automate as much of your business as you can. Email templates, text templates, whatever that is, automate. There's a really awesome book called Procrastinate on Purpose. And basically what it says is, if you can automate it, automate it. If you can't automate it, do it. If you can't do it, procrastinate it. That's it. If you can't automate it and you can't do it, then procrastinate on purpose. But there's a lot of things that we procrastinate that we could do. We could pick up the phone and call those people. We could send those text messages, send those emails, make those connections. But we find an excuse not to. Number 6 is practice and master the skills. We have scripts for you guys. Scripts for everything. But the one argument that I hear from everybody is if I use scripts, I sound like a robot. Okay. Johnny Depp, what does he do for a living? He reads scripts that were written by somebody else and lives them out on a screen and gets paid stupid money to do it. Does he sound robotic? Does he sound like he's reading a script? No, because he practices them and he perfects them and he gets it to the point that that script that somebody else wrote sounds like him. That's it. That's all he does. So why couldn't you do the same thing? Why couldn't you take that script that was written by somebody else and make it sound like you? The short answer is you're not willing to take enough time to do it. Remember that level of determination? How willing are you to go out and do what you need to do to run a thriving real estate business? I'll tell you that it works. Getting comfortable with those scripts, knowing the objections, preparing for those objections, being able to overcome them, this will set you apart from the average agent. You guys know what an average agent makes in a given year? $22,000. And according to the National Association of Realtors, that is the average income for a real estate agent nationwide. I think it's $22,178 or something like that. Don't quote me to that. I know it's around 22 grand, something like that. Is 22 grand a good living? That's below the poverty level. But that's the average income for a real estate agent. Why? Because an average real estate agent is not dedicated to the skills and knowledge that they need to be successful in their business. They are not thriving in real estate. They are barely surviving. Which do you want to be? An agent that thrives or an agent that barely survives? Because guys, there's a crap ton of both out there. Which one do you want to be? How willing are you to invest in yourself and invest in your business so that you can thrive? Ultimately, that decision's up to you. So what is a habit? A habit is a settled or a regular tendency or practice, especially one that is hard to give up. Okay. We have good habits, we have bad habits. Which one do you let decide your business? For most of us, our success is hindered by our bad habits. For the very few, for those that would say that they are thriving, they are driven by the good habits. It's always one or the other. There's no such thing as a neutral habit. It is either good or it is bad. It is either taking you closer to where you want to be it spiritually, financially, with your family, with your relationships. Every habit that you have is either taking you closer or pushing you farther from where you're trying to be. Think about that for a minute. A habit is something that we naturally or automatically do without the need of an instruction or a schedule. We get out of bed, we go to the restroom. We brush our teeth. We wash our face. We take a shower. Do I need to be reminded to take a shower? I hope not. Do I need to be reminded to brush my teeth before I go to bed? I hope not. Not since I was about 2. These are habits. I have a nice smile because I remember to brush my teeth. It's a habit. I don't have to think about it. Something that's very hard to give up. If I go lay down, the first thing I realize is, crap, I forgot to brush my teeth. Right? These are habits. What habits do you have that are either drawing you closer or pushing you farther from where you need to be? Put them down on paper. What are your habits? Fundamental number 7 is keep learning and adapting to change. Understand that real estate is an ever-evolving industry. If you had asked me 8 months ago what was going to happen in real estate in 2020 this year, I would have missed it by a mile. Because COVID happened. Who saw that coming? I sure didn't. Industries are going to shut down. People are going to have to start wearing masks. We're going to start doing virtual showings. We're going to have people who don't leave their house for 2 months. We have people who lost their job. Our unemployment nationwide went over 10 million for the first time since the Great Depression. Who saw that coming? We now have a real estate industry that has rebounded in a way that was unheard of. We have we have interest rates, that's what I was trying to say. We have interest rates that have hit unprecedented lows. Guys, money is free right now. 2.875% amortized over 30 years. That's free money. So as a result, our real estate industry has blown up in Florida. Who saw this coming? Unfortunately, we have agents who get stuck in their ways, who don't adapt to changing markets. We still have agents that are shooting photographs of $250,000 listings with a cell phone. Don't do it. If you still have a flip phone, I might have just stepped on some toes there. Guys, real estate is an emerging industry. Every day is something new. It's one of the things that I love about this industry. It's never predictable. I never have to worry that I'm going to go sit down at my cubicle and I'm going to do the exact same thing for the next 20 years. It's not how real estate works. But a thriving real estate agent is one who keeps learning. The one who is watching this class right now because they know there's something in their business that they don't know yet. This is what it takes to be a thriving real estate professional. Always learn and adapt to change. Have a business that is flexible enough to adapt. I always say you've got a cruise ship and you've got a speedboat. A cruise ship is going to carry a ton of people, but it takes a really long time to change course. Whereas a speedboat is much more nimble. I'm not going to have 10,000 people on my speedboat, but I'm going to be able to zip in and out and change directions and be flexible. Now, there's a place in the water for both of them. There's a place for a cruise ship and there's a place for a speedboat. But ultimately, you have to understand that being able to be nimble, being able to change directions quickly, there's a lot of value in that in real estate. These people that have set up their businesses as the cruise ships that are very slow to adapt to change are the ones that really struggle to survive. They're not thriving. They might be doing okay. They're not thriving. And ultimately, what I want you all to be able to do is thrive in your real estate business. Fundamental number 8, abide by policies and standards. Have standards in your business. What does that mean? It means something different for everybody. But if I had a listing like the 2 pictures on the left-hand side over here, do you think I'm going to be jumping out of my way to go take that listing? No. Why in the world would I want to build a business on that? I don't want to be the guy that sells dilapidated houses. There's a market out there for it. There's people that'll buy them. That's not what I want to do. That's not thriving. I want to go out there and pick my business and know that I can do what it takes to sell homes, to work with buyers that are pre-qualified, to work with sellers that are ready, willing, and able to list their home today. That is a thriving real estate business. And that's what I desire. And that's what I desire for you guys. So there's one more section we're going to touch on before we wrap up. But before we do we have any questions on what we just talked about? On building or developing those habits that are going to set you guys up for success? Nope. Okay. All right. So let's go into this last section. What is it that real estate agents do that determine their level of success? Quite simply, it's their personal ability to discover, connect, and influence people to choose them for providing real estate services. That's it. I got to go find people that are looking to buy or sell a home. That's what successful agents do. Now, here's the cool thing. When I was selling real estate, I had people that weren't ready to buy for 6 to 12 months. But guess what? I'm still going to have bills 6 to 12 months from now, right? My bills aren't going away 3 months from now. So I want to be able to continue to work with those people in the pipeline. I don't need everybody to be ready, willing, and able to buy a home today, but I need somebody who is. So what that means is I need to be constantly having conversations and cultivating those relationships and building those things that are going to allow me to have business today, tomorrow, next week, next month, and next year. I need to have a pipeline of all of those people. And those that are thriving in their real estate industry and the real estate industry as a whole that are thriving in their business are the ones that are able to discover, connect, and influence people who are looking to buy or sell a home at some point in the future. The top successful real estate agents perfect those skills. They go through their scripts. They become very good at having those conversations and knowing what to say and knowing how to get people to choose them at the time that they are ready to buy or sell a home. Guys, it's just like any other skill. It's Michael Jordan showing up on non-game days to practice 50 free throws. This man knows how to shoot a free throw, but he still shows up to practice and he still keeps getting better. Are you willing to spend the time that it takes to be successful in your business? So there are 6 common obstacles that prevent us from implementing those fundamentals. We don't know how to set up a working structure. Well, I just showed you guys how to set up a working structure. So call shenanigans on that one. Number 2, you're uncomfortable speaking to strangers. Okay, cool. How do we overcome that? Practice. Record ourselves. Talk in the mirror. Whatever it is, it can be overcome. I get there's a lot of social anxiety among people right now. You got to practice. You got to overcome it. Because if you are not willing to invest in yourself, how in the world are you going to ask anybody else to invest in you? Number 3 is a lack of confidence. Well, where does a lack of confidence come from? A lack of belief that you know what you're doing. I was talking to an agent last week, and we sat down, and she said, I can't be confident until I know everything. And I looked her square in the face and said, okay, when are you going back to a 9-to-5? Because you will never know everything that will occur in real estate until you're in the middle of it doing it. I cannot prepare you for every scenario and every possible thing that might come up. You need to be confident now, knowing that if something comes up that you don't have the answer to, you have people that you can go get those answers from. You've got brokers, you've got lenders, you've got insurance people, you've got all these people behind you that cause you to be successful. So be confident right now. Even if you've never sold a piece of real estate right now, you need to be confident in the fact that you have all of the skills and knowledge to go out there and do it successfully. But you've got to believe it. Because if you don't, nobody else ever will. Number 4 is, I'm not ready yet. I don't know what to say. Awesome, then you need to keep practicing your scripts until you do. Now that might sound cold and calloused, but at the end of the day, I know what it takes for you guys to be successful, and I'm laying it at your feet. What you choose to do with it is 100% up to you. Number 5 is too many distractions. You're too easily distracted. Facebook, TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, TV. There's a million reasons to be distracted. You got to find a reason not to be. And the 6th one is a lack of determination or motivation. Again, maybe you're motivated, maybe you're determined, but if you're not, there may come a point where you get desperate. One of those 2 things is going to drive you into success or drive you into another industry. 80% of real estate agents never make it to their first renewal. 2 years. 80% of real estate agents don't make it to their first renewal. That is a crazy statistic, but it's true. 1 in 5 are going to stay in this industry. Why? Because it's those 6 things. It's as simple as that. Those 6 things are going to cause you to either be successful or to run for the hills. So what is a goal? We talked about a habit, but a goal is an object of a person's ambition or effort, an aim or a desired result. A goal without a plan is just a dream. Think about that for a second. A goal without a plan is just a dream. So a goal is the result of performing those actions that collectively accomplish the purpose. Having your habits that lead you to productivity. You've got to have a plan. You have to have the habits that propel you to your goal. A goal is the achievement that is accomplished which serves its purpose. So maybe I want to earn $100,000 this year. Maybe I want to have 40 closed transactions, or I want to sell homes priced above $250,000. I want to help renters become homeowners. What is your goal? What are you trying to accomplish? For every single one of you, it will be something different. What are you trying to accomplish? You've got to start with a goal. And your goal needs to be specific, needs to be measurable, needs to be achievable, needs to be repeatable, and it needs to be trackable. It's what I call a SMART goal. So how do you do it? You start with a why. What is your why? It's the same thing with a buyer or a seller. Start with the why. My goal is to earn $100,000 this year. Awesome. Why? I want to go on a dream vacation. I want to purchase a new car or a house. I want to move out of my apartment. I want to buy a condo. I want to buy investment properties. I want to move on. I want to get married. I want to whatever. I want to pay off my debt. I want to be able to start a college fund for my kids. I want to save for retirement. I want to buy investment properties. Your why could be anything under the sun. Let's start with your why. Oops. My goal is to close 40 transactions. Okay, cool. Why 40? Well, it's a bigger achievement than last year. It puts me at a higher rank. It raises me to a new level of success, whatever it is. Why do you have the goal that you have? My goal is to help others go from renting to owning. Why? Well, ownership is better than renting and builds wealth. 75% of the millionaires in the United States got that way through real estate. Buying and selling real estate. It works. I want to help make a difference in others' lives. I want to improve the overall community. All of these things become factors into why I do what I do. Some of your goals should not be directly attached to your real estate career. Maybe you want to have a goal of becoming more healthy or active, or spending more time with loved ones, or giving back through volunteering or financial contributions to charity. Have some goals that are not specifically attached to real estate. Have personal goals. My goal might be to become more healthy or active. Why? Feel better, look better, live longer, whatever that is for you. A goal is accomplished from developing a strategy that consists of actions that become habits where momentum is maintained daily. My goal results from my habits that propel me toward my end. It all comes full circle. So if I want to earn $100,000, this is my goal. Okay, how do I break that down? Well, $100,000 in commission, in GCI, gross commission income, means I need to make what, $8,000 a month, $8,200 a month, something like that. Okay, how do I earn $8,000 a month? Well, let's just say my average price point is, let's just call it $200,000. So $200,000 at 2.5% gives me $5,000. So that means I need to close 1.5 transactions every month to be able to make $7,500 or $8,000 a month. Okay, now I have a goal. What do I need to do to go close 2 transactions a month or 3 transactions a month? What do I need to do? How many people do I need to call? How many leads do I need to buy? How much money do I need to spend? How much do I need to network? Whatever your end goal is, back into it with strategy. With strategy, what habits do I need to establish to be able to achieve that goal to get me to my end? What's an amazing and inspiring way to continue doing my required actions to achieve my goals? Create a vision board. Now, I always said all the way through, this is bogus. I was never, ever, ever going to build a vision board. And I had a real estate coach pretty early on that started in with a vision board. And I told him, dude, you're barking up the wrong tree. I'm not going to do it. And he said, okay, here's what we're going to do. For the next 6 months, I want you to go out and set up your goals and see how close you get to achieving them. Okay, fine. Next 6 months, I went out, set my goals, hit most of them, was doing fine. He's like, but for the second 6 months, you're going to make a vision board. You're going to put on this vision board personal goals, business goals, and family goals. You're going to put them on there. You're going to make it the backdrop for your computer. You're going to have it hanging right next to your desk in your office. And you're going to look at this stupid thing every single day. You're going to set your goals based on your vision board. Okay, I'll try anything. Guys, let me tell you, I blew every single goal I had out of the water and then some. Having a visual reminder of why you are doing what you are doing will propel you to a level of success that I would have never believed if I hadn't done it. Create a vision board. It's one of those things that you're either going to do it or you're not. And I can sit here and tell you the difference that it made in my life and the difference it made for my family and the things that I accomplished as a result of it. But until you physically do it and see it, you cannot appreciate the difference that it's going to make for you. Keep your vision board in easy view. Put it in your office, in your workspace. Set it as a backdrop for your computer. Put it as a backdrop on your phone. Keep it front and center. Here's something else that I had a coach that told me one time. If I wanted to make $100,000 a year, it means that I need to make 50 bucks an hour. So there's approximately 2,000 hours in a 40-hour work week, 50 weeks, 2,000 hours a year that I work. 2,000 hours, I want to make 100 grand. That means I make 50 bucks an hour. So what he actually made me do was take a $50 bill and tape it to the side of my monitor for a year. And what he said was, every time I sit down at that computer, is what I'm about to do for the next hour going to earn me that $50? If I decide to sit here and screw around on Facebook for an hour, did I just earn that $50 or did I cost myself that $50? I'll tell you guys, it was a motivator to have a $50 bill hanging on the side of my monitor for a year. Because it's so easy to get distracted. It's so easy to look at this and go, okay, I'm just going to spend 10 minutes on Pinterest. Guys, Pinterest is a black hole. Don't do it. But I did it once. 3 hours disappeared. I had no idea what I had just done, and I never did it again. To this day, that was 6 or 7 years ago. I've still not gone back on Pinterest, but I digress. Having a $50 bill taped to my monitor was a visual reminder that every single hour I'm working, it's costing me 50 bucks. Of my $100,000 a year income, I need to make $50 a day, 8 hours, or $50 an hour, 8 hours a day, 50 weeks a year. Now that's factoring for my 2 weeks of vacation that I want to take. I typically take a week in the summer to go take a cruise, and I typically take a week between Thanksgiving and Christmas. That's my time. I still get my 2 weeks of vacation a year. But that's 50 bucks an hour for every single hour that I work. Have those visual reminders in front of you will keep you on track. Include others in sharing your goals and share your vision board with them. Create accountability for it. Now, some top recommendations for setting up your working structure, some daily to-do habits and actions. The first half of your day is focused on capturing new leads. And then hang on, we just had somebody pop into the chat. Diane said, thanks so much. You always give me so many things to look back and think about. I think the vision board is a must, and I like the $50 an hour idea. When you set up your day, you need to have a plan. You have to know how you're going to do this. So why should the beginning of the day be planned for capturing new leads? You're fresh. You just woke up. Hopefully you've had a nice breakfast, which I'm terrible about. I rarely eat breakfast. I really should, but I don't. You have a positive mindset, which positively increases your results. Because again, you're going to start your day with positivity, with affirmations, with meditation, with whatever that is for you. Start your day right so that the first few hours of your day are going to be met with that same level of positivity and encouragement and excitement. You're going to be certain to attend to those lead generations rather than missing it because something happened later in the day that interrupted you, or you have a lack of motivation. The second half of your day is focused on attending to appointments, showing homes, previewing homes, listing appointments, closings, inspections, whatever that is. Set that up for the second half of your day. You need to practice your scripts, your objection handlers, your presentation delivery. You need to read them quietly and then again out loud. You need to record yourself going through these things and then listen to the playback. You need to role play, and that should be R-O-L-E, sorry. You need to role play with one or more partners. Role play it. You need to train your mind because your brain is a muscle. The same way Michael Jordan, good grief. Same way Michael Jordan practices shooting a free throw the same way every time. You need to train your mind to overcome those obstacles the same way every time. The human brain's thinking process seeks to please our immediate desires and emotions. If you don't want to attend to the action of script practice or lead generation, your brain is going to perceive that and process a request to provide an acceptable excuse. This is self-preservation. This is how our brain works. If I'm sitting here thinking, oh, I really don't want to do this. I don't want to make this phone call. I don't want to do this. Guess what? Your brain is going to give you 10 things that you could go do to keep you from having to make that phone call. That's self-preservation. Because the primal part of our brain said, I don't want to leave this cave because something big and scary lurks out there. So my brain's going to come up with reasons to stay in the cave where I'm safe. This is how we're wired. So what you have to do is, at this time, I could go shopping with a friend. I could play a game of golf. I could watch TV. I could scroll Facebook. I could check out what my connections are doing. I could, whatever. So many options to fill that time. But instead, I need to develop those habits that say, I know if I make my 10 phone calls, I'm going to get a lead out of that. I know it's going to happen. So however begrudgingly I need to go make those phone calls, I need to do it because I know what comes next. I know that I'm going to get business. So if I get in the habit of consistently making those phone calls and sending those text messages and doing the things that I know are going to generate business, I'm going to develop the momentum. I'm going to be able to keep going with it. So then what happens? Well, I'm going to start skipping those things. I'm going to start derailing because it happens. I always joked that I would open a building called Resolutions, and it would be a gym for the first 3 months out of the year and then a bar for the next 9. Because people start with these resolutions. I'm going to get healthy. I'm going to go to the gym. I'm going to do all these things. And in January, they probably do. And then in February, I'll skip today. I'll go tomorrow. By March, you're skipping more days than you're going. Because in your brain, you're starting to make excuses as to why it's just not as important anymore. So you start skipping actions here and there. Oh, I'm not going to make my calls tomorrow morning because I've got a buyer that has a home inspection. I've got to go tend to that, so I'm not going to make my calls. What you're really doing is establishing a new habit. You're doing a habit of not doing the things that are going to be positive for your business. So you start to lose momentum. You start to get farther from your goal because you started playing hooky. achieving your goal, thriving in your business is 100% established through the routines and the habits that you develop every single day. So I need help getting started. I need to convince myself to attend to practice and to the lead generation. So you need to discipline yourself. How? Well, you need to restrict yourself from an item or activity that you need or enjoy until you've committed to practicing your scripts. Now, I was working with a lender for a while that hated making phone calls, despised it. So what he would do is every time he made a phone call, he would have a box of those little like donut holes. And after he made the phone call, he would give himself a donut hole. That was his reward for making the phone calls. You need to not give yourself that donut until you've made your phone call. Maybe you are like my daughter and you're obsessed with Starbucks. I'm not going to go get my Starbucks until I've made my 10 phone calls today. I'm going to force myself to do it. In behaviorism, we call this negative reinforcement. The next step is positive reinforcement. So you reward yourself. Give yourself that little item that you enjoy as a reward. Every time you get a new listing, you go get a massage. A reward for doing the things that you know are generating business. My wife and daughter love Lush. It's a cosmetics line, whatever. It's all like natural, whatever. It's $7 for a bar of soap. But they love the face masks and the bath bombs and all of that. So what I always said was, okay, every time I have a closing, you guys get 25 bucks at Lush. And what it did is it kept them holding me accountable. Hey, Dad, are you making those phone calls? Because I'm getting low on my bath bombs. I need to go get a new one at Lush. Are you making those phone calls? Are you doing what you need to do? Because I need to go to Lush. And I know that I'm not going to get to go unless you have a closing. So are you doing what you need to do so that I can have what I want? Caused me to make my phone calls because I did not want to let my little girl down. That was my negative reinforcement, was I can't let her down. She wants to go and I feel good about being able to buy it for her. So I need to make these phone calls to keep business in my pipeline so that I can keep moving forward to reach my goal. Guys, sometimes it's not just about you. It's not just about the money that you make or, earning those things. It's about what you can do for others that lead to your goals. Now, a couple of quick tips on improving your business activities. Wear professional attire. COVID has made it so that yoga pants are a totally acceptable work attire. Not gonna lie, there have been times when I was working from home that from the waist up, I'm wearing my nice shirt, my nice collared shirt. I'm sitting there in gym shorts. Because you guys can't see it. When I'm on the phone, you're not seeing me anyway. So it made it really easy to not have to worry about how I looked. Set up an actual office space. Set up a place that you go to that is just dedicated to work. You're not going to get distracted by the TV. You're not going to get distracted by all these other things. This is your workspace. When you go in there, you are there to work. Have an accountability system or an accountability partner. Do not make this your spouse or significant other. And I cannot reinforce this enough. Your accountability partner should not be somebody that you're also sharing other aspects of your life with. Because the last thing that I need is my wife coming to me and going, are you making those phone calls? Are you doing what you need to do? Quit nagging me. My accountability partner was my best friend who would call me and go, all right, and I apologize in advance, but I'm going to say this the same way he did. All right, dumbass, did you make your phone calls? He put his foot in my butt every single week to make sure that I was doing what I needed to do because he knew the responsibility that I had to my family. that was my accountability partner. That was the person that could go to me and go, okay, so you realize that your car payment is due next week, right? You realize your mortgage is not going away just because you decided to putz around on Facebook for an hour. What are you doing? Get into the routine of the things that you know are going to generate business for you. And I needed that. It should not be your spouse, your significant other, because that is just a recipe for disaster. The last one is to partner with an agent who's doing the same. Get another agent that is also in the same place, that's looking for an accountability partner, that's looking to help grow their business and take their business to the next level, the same motivation and same drive that you have. Work together on it. So I'll stop here. Do you guys have any questions? Anything that I can answer for you? I'm gonna go ahead and turn screen sharing off here. Sharing. Okay.
Am I the only one?
No, there are a couple others as well.
Oh, okay. Okay.
They just
No, everything was this was very insightful. I took notes. I'm like
Awesome.
Illinois. I'm very tactile, you know. Oh,
Yep.
where's I've been working on my bio as well, but no, like affirmation is really good, and just like positive feedback. I promised myself every A on every exam I got in college, I would get Cold Stone, my favorite ice cream.
There you go.
And I got a lot of ice cream.
Then you had to get a gym membership to make up for all the ice cream, but you know what? It's worth it.
Yeah, I started a boxing membership, and the same thing, you know, you say, oh, I'll do it later, and then it becomes a habit, you know. So I agree with everything you said. It was very exceptional. It was very motivating. Kind of like I need to get my butt in the gear, you know?
Exactly. So if you guys have any questions as you go through, you know, I'm always here to help. I'm here to help motivate you. If you want to have some kind of business planning, or, you know, if you want to talk about what does it take to really help get my business going, what are some strategies that work for me, I'm more than happy to set appointments with you guys and help you do that as well. Because again, that's what I really love to do. I love helping you achieve those goals and get to what you're trying to accomplish. So I appreciate you guys spending a couple hours with me this morning, and I will talk to you again soon. Have a great day.